Hello everyone, Badger here, and today we're going to take a look at some more Viggen. So here I come in to do a bomb drop basically, and I get hit by some AAA or something that must be right underneath me. We didn't see anything earlier, so I didn't really expect it. I get hit. The plane starts to wiggle, and that's because we have an electrical error. I'm guessing the computer doesn't really know what to do. I probably also have some damaged control surfaces. Maybe something is jammed. Because it's flying pretty stable, even though it's wiggling a lot. I don't have to do much. But when I take off the stability system, you can see I'm holding the stick almost all the way to the right, and you can see now we're flying level. So there's definitely something bad going on with my aircraft.
Yeah, I had my Maverick sight.
So I will be steering a lot with rudder and joystick, because the stick alone isn't. 4 has an electrical error, so I might go out of comms soon.
Alright. Wish you best of luck.
I had to turn off the spark autopilot because my plane was wiggling left and right, so I think something has gone wrong. So yeah, here I went on to tell my squadron that I have an electrical error and will probably lose power soon, if the generator is broken.
I'm free, my nav system points me the wrong way again.
So we can't generate an electricity. Now, because the reserve generator hasn't really been working in the past, I didn't really think to turn it on instantly. I thought it's probably not gonna work anyways. And the funny thing is that at this stage I'm still trying to bomb that target, you know, that's why I'm circling around and flying upwards. And maybe a bit foolish, but I think I didn't really care. I was like, let's try it. I'm also gaining some altitude because there are a lot of Stinger missiles, and you know, short range missiles and AAA underneath me, so I do want to get some altitude so that hopefully they can't shoot at me.
Hawk 1-5 takes into runway 13.
Down there we have the FARP. Looks like my wingman had hit part of the target. So inspect the wings, and we can see that we don't see any damage, but it's hard to see on the Viggen. But I think some control surface has either been jammed or damaged in some way.
Traffic, Spider 13 inbound.
So there we get the warning. And I'm like, okay, what now? And there goes the power. So now we can't hear anything on radio, we can't communicate, we have no power. So this is when I realized, okay, fly back to home, to base. Plane is still flying kind of wonky. I want to turn it right, but it kind of doesn't, so I'm using some rudder, and that's why a bit wonky. I also dropped my bombs, that's why the plane is now shifting the balance. I think they shot off one of the pylons. That's probably why it suddenly changed like that. Just jettison my weapons. So I decided to gain some altitude, because over that town over there are air defenses there. And in the fields below me, so just to make it a bit more safe to avoid the enemy stingers. So I'm basically trying to find my way back to base. I know the rough direction. We're heading east currently. And Vasiani Air Base is sort of a little bit east-southeast from where I was currently. So I had a good general direction of where to go. As you can see, I'm pulling the stick all the way back, and we are losing altitude. And you can also see that the screen is starting to turn grey from hypoxia, because I don't have any oxygen, because the oxygen system doesn't work without electricity, I suppose. So I'm starting to see, like, wait, why is the heads-up display getting so blurry? Like, why is it looks like it's vibrating. And I don't really pay much attention to it, because, you know, it's so gradual. So I turned the reserve generator on. Ah, nothing happened, I thought.
Yeah,
But then the power comes back on. Okay, 4 managed to get electrical power on. Oh shit, I'm getting hypoxia. That's why it's getting... So now you can see I'm seeing double. The screen is very grey, so I'm just, okay, we gotta get low. We gotta lose this altitude.
Spider went to final 5 kilometers out.
Now, during this whole thing, you can't see it, but I'm pulling the stick all the way back now, almost.
Spider 16 on final.
So I'm like, oh shit, we are going down, we're losing a lot of altitude. And here I'm pulling it, now it's all the way back. Well, not, yeah, there we go. So I'm like, what do we do? And then as we enter the thicker air, we get some control back again. It's a bit wonky.
Spider 320 pace. Spider 16 second 4.
Yeah, so a little sigh there, because it's exhausting to fly like this, as I will point out in a moment. Because you're constantly pressing down on the pedal, and you're also holding the stick in a certain way. It's like, the best way to describe it is that it's like when you're a new driver and you're doing a long drive and you're holding your arms, so your arms get really tired on the steering wheel. It's exhausting to fly like this. Because you get so tense, you know, you're so tense, and then there's also an emergency situation, that doesn't help it. But now the plane is flying pretty stable, and the problem is with no electrical power I don't have any autopilot or trim system. So that's a bit of a problem. So I have to fly in a very straining way. Now I think the Viggen has emergency trim, but I was very happy flying like this. I didn't want to mess with the settings in case that upsets the balance of the aircraft, you know. It's a bit heavy to fly like this, but it works.
Press on the ground, Spider 1 to vacating in the wrong way.
Stay on traffic, Spider 1-4 inbound for emergency landing on reserve electrical power, so I might go dark at any moment.
Spider 16 left runway. Spider 13.
At this moment I'm actually wondering if people can hear me. Like, am I transmitting or not? And you can see Tbilisi, the city of Tbilisi, in front of us, and then we have the 3 airfields, and we're going to Vasiani, which is the furthest one.
Spider 1 3 touchdown.
Alright, I will check out for today. Have some things to prepare for work tomorrow.
Or
Oh, thanks for playing.
yeah, you're fine.
Now this one went okay, I think.
Jenny Crown, Spider 1
lost
3
my
right
score.
way vacated.
It was reset somehow, I don't know. But I was
Traffic spread on 5 to 20,000.
well, I'll leave it in the comments and feedback.
Yep.
Well, thanks for today, guys. Thank you.
It was fun.
Somebody else also had a desktop navigation system.
Can you repeat?
Who else navigation system was messed up?
Mine. 3. It was pointing me opposite direction.
Okay, because the landing waypoint was, I think, north, a complete different direction.
I mean, it was pointing me to the right waypoint, but after the attack run, it was pointing me to Vaziani completely wrong way. The attack waypoint was okay, but landing base was way off.
Is the traffic spider 1-4 turning final for emergence line?
Traffic spread on 5, shot high. Should I run long?
I'm going around. I'm going too fast. I have no speed indicators. I can't see.
4-3, you're trailing white smoke.
Copy that. So yeah, I actually have a speed indicator, and that's what I was using. It's the instrument in the smaller cluster on the right. And at the time I was just, I don't know, I didn't pay attention to what speed I was going at. I was going kind of visually. So my speed does go up and down a little bit. Can you confirm if I have all gear down? Because I have 3 green lights.
It appears you have gear down.
Copy that. Yeah, so you can see extreme, like I'm pulling the stick to. I'm mostly steering by using the rudder at this stage. I'm holding the stick far to the side just to stabilize the aircraft. So I'm getting a bit slow here, approaching stall speeds, and things are getting kind of nasty. But I still feel like I'm in control. Like I haven't been in a sort of moment where I feel like I lost control of the aircraft. Here I'm feeling like a little bit, it's starting to turn more than I want to. And now the power starts to fluctuate. On final, blacking out power, so. And there power goes. That was good timing. I wouldn't be able to hear the reply. And it's back for a moment. Goes back on off. So things are looking pretty good, but then I think there's wind and it's starting to throw me off, and the plane gets a little bit unsettled at this stage. You know, it starts to act like I have stick all the way to the right. And the rudder is, oh, it starts to do things. So, it's pretty much abort. At this point I realized that I probably don't have a thrust reverser if I don't have electrical power. So, it's probably hydraulically driven, but I might not have that much hydraulics left. So I'm sort of thinking that, yeah, I need the entire runway. So I'm going around. Now, I think the reason the power comes back on and off again is because I'm at the speed where the reserve generator works. It's basically a propeller that you extend. Ram air turbine. And it generates some electrical power like that. So I think it's because I'm in the speeds, but sometimes it seems like I'm at a speed where I should have electrical power, but I don't. Or maybe it's, yeah, like there it came back on and I went away. Like I'm wondering if it's bound to the throttle setting, but that doesn't seem like it makes sense. The backup airspeed indicator is a little bit off as well. It tends to be it tends to show the incorrect setting compared to the regular one. So when you're in a situation like this, you don't think about the little details usually. You're so focused on like all your mental power is at flying the aircraft. Like you can't feel it when you're watching this video, I think, but when you're flying you can feel that, okay, I'm holding the stick still, but the plane is moving on its own in various ways that it shouldn't, and constantly compensating those little micro things so you don't just roll out of control. That would be lethal at these altitudes that we're at. And yeah, I could probably have turned off like some lights and some other things that, you know, maybe it's draining the battery too quickly, but I think most people had landed by this point, and hopefully people were aware that I were still operating in the area. So I felt like, yeah, I can do it like this. You don't really need the electrical system. I'm not sure if it's bound to the hydraulic pumps, but I think it seems to fly pretty well. Lost visual of the runway. Just trying to find it. And there it is. And we're pretty well aligned, but as you can see, the plane doesn't really want to play along. Spider 1-4 on the final second attempt. If anyone's in the area around Vaziani, stay clear. My power is going out constantly. Approach is looking good. Wind is throwing me off a little bit. This is gonna be a pretty late landing, but you don't want to do any extreme movements because you don't know how the plane's gonna react. A very smooth landing. Sliding all around this winter runway. And there we go. Let's roll to the end of the runway.